Hello, this is Catherine at I Know I Need to Stop Talking. How are you, my lovelies? We're in a bonkers time, aren't we? I feel like I say this every week, but it just seems to get more crazy. So at the time of recording this, I think in an hour, Boris, our esteemed leader, is going to come onto national television and tell us who the fuck knows. Are we locked down? Are we not locked down? Some of us have been in lockdown for what feels like forever. I have no clue what's going on. I did really like the online commentary that I saw that suggested that as today is Halloween, perhaps he could possibly consider dressing up for the occasion. Insert your own appropriate jokes about what entertaining, scary costume would be most appropriate to see on our esteemed Prime Minister right now. But yes, times are strange indeed and uncertain. And when I was thinking about what I should cover in this week's podcast, I just thought I'd try and cover some stuff that makes me happy, because I think focusing on the stuff that makes us happy, and I'm fully conscious of that a lot of the stuff that makes us happy we can't be doing right now. But there are lots of things, nevertheless, that can perhaps put a smile on our face. So this week's podcast is very much devoted to all of my favourite things, which I thought I would share with all of you, and hopefully perhaps prompt you to share some of yours as well in this, as I say, strange and really rather shit time we're living through. So let's try and bring some smiles. Obviously, before we start that, we have to do the usual Catherine's weekly update on what the fuck is the shit on her dining room table. Let's hope it's not literal shit, although it could be. As I sang that song, I realised that I've picked up one of the random items on my dining room table this week as I sit here and record, which is a very small red Lego brick with a green, round, slightly transparent, translucent, one of those, you know the ones I mean, Lego brick on top of it, which it now occurs to me is probably the thing that was digging into my foot earlier when I crossed the kitchen floor on the way to making lunch for my children. So that's nice. So I've got a small random Lego brick. There's a few of the last week's items remain, so we still have the BB-8 nightlight, who even knows why. The bag of lavender remains as well. There's a large bag of cotton wool. I don't know why. I feel like I bought the bag of cotton wool. I have no clue for what purpose, but here it sits. And then there is, so as you know, it was birthdays in my children's house, in our house recently. My children and myself all have birthdays within the space of about 10 days. It's very chaotic. And there is the birthday card that Jamie bought Beth, which Jamie's 13 now, and I made the mistake of just saying, look, here's my account on Moonpig. Find a card, order a card, get it ordered, and you know, then we'll have a birthday card for your sister, and we're all sorted out. I should have checked. I realise now that I made a grave error in not checking what Jamie had purchased, but he's a good boy, and I thought he's going to pick something suitable for his sister. So the first I saw of this card was when it arrived in the post with some other cards, and I pulled it out and kind of did a metaphorical and also literal double take, and summoned Jamie down and said, "What's this?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, no, I thought it was a really good card for Beth." I tried to do the stern parent face, and then I killed myself laughing because it is very funny. So the card itself, and I'd love to put a picture of this on the blog, but I'm sure there would be some people who would get offended. So let's keep it as a podcast thing. But the visual is excellent. It's a visual of a smiling girl. She must be about 7 or 8 years old, I would say, with her hair in pigtails. She's got a big ice cream drink in front of her, and she's doing this saccharine kind of smile with her head on one side. And the caption at the top of the page on the card that Jamie chose for Beth is, "Today is all about you!" exclamation mark. Subtitle, "Just like every other fucking day." And it could not be more appropriate for my children. Obviously, it's desperately inappropriate, and as a proper and sensible parent, I was clearly appalled, and then I killed myself laughing because it is very, very fucking funny. And Beth, to her credit, also laughed her head off as well when she saw it. So yeah, I think that landed well. But yeah, so that's sitting in the middle of my dining room table today, along with a whole heap of just shit. Thankfully not the literal kind, although as I say, who knows what secrets that BB-8 nightlight is hiding. Maybe I should be glad that I don't know. I also have to apologise for if you can hear any background noise. Again, proper podcasters probably do all this in some big nice studio with soundproofed walls and no noise whatsoever. I, meanwhile, have my dishwasher running in the background, and I think there's something wrong with my household appliances, because Dishwasher is not the only one. They're very disruptive. Does anybody else have disruptive household appliances? So the dishwasher, if you can't hear it in the background, is making a noise rather like it's some kind of large super yacht launching itself. I say that, I have no idea what a super yacht launching itself sounds like, but I feel like it would sound like this. Lots of swish, 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 back and forward type things. That, however, is possibly my most well-behaved kitchen appliance. Next to it, we have the fridge. My fridge is the most unbelievably aggressive household object ever. You briefly open it to take out, I don't know, some eggs. I open the fridge to get out some eggs, so I take the eggs out and I leave the fridge door open for a nanosecond while I take the eggs to the counter and return to put the egg box back in the fridge. And I've had fridges before which have been quite polite, and when you leave them over, they do like, when you leave them open, they do like a little ding. They're like, bing, bing, bing. I have no objection to that. It's like I'm warning you, but I don't want to do it too loudly because you might be having a conversation and I don't want to be interruptive. My new fridge is so aggressive. You leave it open for a nanosecond and you don't get a nice bing, bing, you get a ding, which I've tried to keep like deliberately quieter than it actually is because I don't want it to like resonate through your eardrums, but it's the most hellish, batshit, screechy, that just keeps going and going. And it's not like it does it for, I don't know, 5 seconds and then stops. It will keep fucking going. I've tried it because I thought maybe I can beat the bastard. I was like, come on, I'm bright, I'm a human, I must be able to beat an inanimate object. No, it wore me down. I shut that fridge before it shut the fuck up. But actually the worst household appliance within my kitchen, without a shadow of a doubt, is my absolute fucker. Now I know that washing machines have bricks in the bottom of them. I didn't for a long time, and that was quite the revelation when I found out. I can only assume that mine doesn't just have a brick in there. I think that it maybe has a Mexican jumping brick in the bottom of my washing machine, because I talk to friends and they're like, oh yeah, my washing machine is silent. Is silent? My washing machine, it's like, as I say, it's like it's about to take off. It starts quiet, and then it really builds to this crescendo where it kind of like starts spinning more and more violently and more violently until the point, as I say, it sounds like there's a Mexican jumping brick in the bottom of that washing machine ready to like burst out and smash through the front of the washing machine. Ridiculously fucking noisy household object. Anyway, it's switched off for now, so hopefully that won't interrupt our little conversation this afternoon. But yeah, fuckers. Household objects are fuckers, lots of them. So yes, apologies if you can hear dishwasher resonance in the background. But yes, I thought we'd focus on some of the things this week that make me smile, because I don't know about you, but I feel a need to find the positives. I am an incurable optimist, but fuck me, 2020 is trying, isn't it? It really is trying. So let's start with the things that make me smile. And when I was putting this list together, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start with my cats. And I was thinking this because we've got 3 cats. 2 of them were kind of curled up next to me, looking really sweet and purry and nice and warm at this time of the year. And I was like, oh, cats, they're lovely. And then I realised that much like my household objects, my cats are also frequently fuckers as well. And to illustrate this, I thought I would share with you all the anecdote from last weekend, which poor Jamie, he's such a good soul. Poor Jamie, I think, is still emotionally scarred by. So we have 3 cats. For a long time, we had 1 cat called Sandwich. Sandwich is still here. She is about 14 now, so she's an old lady. And then about a year ago, much to Sandwich's horror, we decided that we had the time and the ability to take on 2 additional rescue kittens. So we brought Brexit and ASAP into our home because God knows I love a comedy cat name. So Sandwich, Brexit and ASAP. And yes, the looks you are imagining that the neighbours have when we scream their names out the back door are spot on. So we have our 3 cats. Sandwich is a very good girl. She's a very good girl. Brexit and ASAP are little shits. I mean, God love them, I adore those cats, but they are absolute arseholes, they really are. And one way they manifest their arseholeness, and believe me, there are many ways in which they manifest their arseholeness, like when we first got them. I've had kittens for years, yeah, I've always had cats, and I've had kittens frequently in that time. I know what kittens are like. They're a bit bitey, they're a bit shitty, they're a bit scratchy, they calm down and we're all good. ASAP and Brexit, when we got them, were so destructive that my dad still laughs at it. He came down to stay quite soon after we got them, and he still laughs at remembering coming down to stay with us. and finding our sofas stacked up in the kitchen. And you know, my dad's very, very sanguine and laid back, but even he was like, why are there sofas in the kitchen? Because the cats wouldn't stop bloody shitting on them. So we effectively let the cats beat us and ended up putting the sofas in the kitchen and sitting on the floor, because it's easier to clear up a wooden floor than it is to clear up kitten diarrhea from down the back of a sofa or down the back of a flat screen TV, as one of them also decided to shit down the back of my television. Thankfully, we are past those horrendous days. But they are still arseholes in many ways, and one of the biggest ways they manifest that arse on us is they're real hunters. And I know what you're thinking, which is, you know, that's cats' natural instincts, and they go and hunt, and you shouldn't berate them for that. And we don't berate them for that. It is them responding to their natural instincts. But honestly, these two are such dicks about it. So we regularly come downstairs in the morning to murdered small animals. We've had a number of mice, a number of voles, we've had a few rats, we've had birds, both dead and alive. We were reliving the other day, me and the kids, the infamous moment from last year when the kittens were still quite small, because it was nearly Christmas, so they really would have been quite small. And one of them, without us seeing, managed to bring in a live mouse and take it upstairs into Beth's bedroom. And for some reason, the children were the children were in there sorting out some clothes. I'd asked them to sort out some clothes, and I went and see how they were getting on. And there's a standing joke in our household that when people have, you know, left a room in a particular mess, myself, Mr. I Know I Need to Stop Talking, have always said, oh, honestly, you know, there'll be a rat's nest in there. So we've always had this joke. This is completely The Boy Who Cried Wolf. You can see what's coming. So they're in there tidying up, and suddenly Beth calls over to Jamie. She goes, Jamie, there's a mouse running up your trouser leg. And Jamie's like, oh, Beth, come on. No, there isn't. He looks down. There fucking is. There's a live mouse running up his trouser leg. And I have never seen Jamie move so quickly or leap so far in my entire life. It was literally like watching the triple jump at the Olympics. He did this kind of frightened hop skip and shot out the door, leaving me to catch the mouse, which you will be pleased to know we released unharmed out into the little wooded area at the end of our garden. So all's well ends well. Anyway, fast forward to present day, and last weekend, they do, as I say, regularly bring in murdered animals. We had a bat. We had a decapitated bat a few weeks ago. So if nothing else, it's a great natural history lesson for the kids every morning. And we all divide up chores in the house. And Jamie, to be fair to him, he's taken on the cats, which is both the nice part of looking after the cats, like giving them their food when they rub up against your legs, and the shit parts, like clearing up shit, etc. And he also deals with all the decapitated and dismembered animals that we end up being gifted by our cats. And so it was last Saturday morning. I was still in bed. I was lying in bed. And Beth went downstairs and then came back upstairs and sort of said, Mum, just so you know, there's a massive bird in the conservatory. I said, okay, fair enough. You know, she's Beth. She's still relatively small herself. So I was like, okay, perspective is one thing. And then she said, it's got green legs. Okay, fine, fair enough. Anyway, so I got myself up, had a shower, got dressed, went downstairs. Jamie was sort of starting to wake up at this point, and I went and looked in the conservatory, expecting to find what we usually get, which is, you know, a poor, sad-looking bird which has lost a few feathers, etc. I did not expect this. I did not expect to walk downstairs, open the door to my conservatory, which is where the cats sleep during the night, and one of my cats was sitting there. ASAP was sitting there on the floor. Bear in mind, they're one and a bit, my cats, so they're almost fully grown. Next to ASAP was a very massacred bird, which I swear to God was the size that she was. It was absolutely fucking huge. As she sat there as cats do, like going, I have provided for you. Almost looking a little bit offended, like, why are you not tucking in? I have prepared this. So poor Jamie had to then come downstairs, and he and I, between us, sort of disposed of this. I think maybe it was a magpie. It's probably not very lucky, is it? You know, the disemboweled magpie in your conservatory. One for sorrow, two for disembowelment, something like that. I think it was a magpie. So yeah, between us, we kind of started the clear up operation. My favourite part of which was Jamie yelling through to me while I was getting the bin bags. He was like, Mum, I can't find its head. And I was like, a pause. He's like, oh no, don't worry. No, I found it. God love him. So that was Saturday morning, and then Jamie and I were laughing because Jamie's very into watching YouTube, and he's desperately hoping that my YouTube channel will garner sufficient followers, subscribers. This is how little I know about YouTube. I don't even know what it it's called when people like your channel. Is it a subscriber? Anyway, people signing up to your stuff that you do on YouTube. Apparently if you get 100,000 people, I have explained to him that given I think I'm on about 360, there's probably a little way to go. But apparently when you get to 100,000, then you get some kind of plaque from YouTube, and then it progresses up all the way to like diamond level or something like that, which is probably about 50 billion subscribers or whatever it is. So then Jamie was suggesting that maybe this was what the cats were working up to, that they had their own kind of like grading system. So they'd started small with mice and birds. The magpie was the next stage. I was like, my God, what are they going to bring in next? And he was like, well, they're working up, Mum. Basically, they're going to get to diamond level. I said, what will that be? He said, it will probably be another cat. I was like, dear God. Then he said, we might have to make the cat flap a bit bigger for them to get the larger animals through. I was like, what? No, fuck off. They're not bringing a fucking albatross in. No, we just keep that cat flap the size that it is. Thanks very much. So that was Saturday. And then I was kind of like, okay, well, the cats have been dicks, but you know, they usually calm down after they've made a great sacrifice to their cat gods, so we're probably okay now. So then on Sunday afternoon, Jamie and I went out for a walk, and we came back from our walk, and we came back through the door. He said, oh, I really need to go to the loo. And I said, well, crack on. So he ran upstairs. And then a little bit like when the mouse ran up his trouser leg, he kind of did this. He went this, whoa, mum, come here. So I went upstairs, and he was like, you'll never guess what those cats have done now. And at this point, I'm kind of my expectations have been set. I'm thinking, right, well, there's going to be a corpse somewhere, or there'll be a load of feathers, or they'll have puked somewhere. You know, I feel my expectations are reasonably set. Nothing, therefore, could have prepared me for walking upstairs, and I go into the bathroom, and Jamie says, like, look at that. I look down into the toilet bowl where my cats have placed a once live, now very dead mouse, which was floating there in the water of the toilet bowl. A truly shitty death on all levels, if ever it was possible to have a shitty death. So yeah, my cats are total arseholes, but in between being arseholes, they do make me smile, they do make me laugh, and they are definitely a big positive. So I think for anybody lucky enough or in a position to have pets, if indeed you're a pet person, if you're lucky enough to have pets during this time, then hopefully they are a big source of laughter. And as I say, they do make me smile in between being absolute fucking dicks. Mouse in the toilet, dear God. But we've had a really nice half term. We're very lucky because we live in an area of the country where there have been lower restrictions, and I'm always really conscious of the fact that when I talk about, so lots of you saw I wrote my post on Facebook when I was talking about my dad coming down and how we'd been for a really long walk for my birthday, which was amazing, and I really ummed and ahed before I posted that, because I am really conscious that lots of you, I mean, my goodness, if you live in Leicester, I think, have you been in like lockdown since the start of the year or something ridiculous? So I hope that when I do post these things that you take them in the right way and understand that I'm definitely not trying to do it to go, look at me, I can do these things and you can't. But sometimes I like to go and read other stuff that other people are doing that makes people smile in a time when there's often not a lot to smile about. So I hope you take this in the spirit that it's intended, is what I'm trying to say. I do appreciate that for lots of people, even the stuff that I'm talking about isn't necessarily possible right now. But we are in the lucky position where cases are low at the minute. They are rising, as they are in I think most areas around the country. And I don't live near either of my parents. They're divorced, and they live probably a couple of hours away from me. But they're also in a low area of the country. So I think we'd all sort of made the decision that we should use the opportunity now to try and see each other if we could, on the understanding that probably then it would be next year before we got to see each other again. So with that in mind, my mum popped down for a couple of days this week, which was really, really lovely to see her and have her stay. And does anybody else find that they just, when their parents come and stay, it's just like reverting back to being a slightly stroppy teenager again? And I swear that the years dissipate away, and I'm straight back in my house, my childhood home, arguing over what station she's tuned the radio channel to, and getting in a strop when she tells me that I need to tidy my room. Well, she didn't do that. No, she didn't do that. But I was working this week, so she came down, and bless her, she just did the amazing mum thing where, you know, she went and tidied up my children's drawers. They found clothes that they haven't seen in probably 6 years, so they're not going to fit anymore. She wanted to iron. She wanted to iron their clothes. She said to me, "Where's your iron?" And I just looked baffled. Is it just me who doesn't? I mean, I never iron. We do have an iron. I only now know this because my mum looked around the house and found the iron. Yeah, actually, that's not quite true. I said I don't iron. I did iron. There was one occasion when Beth must have been about 3. She was quite small. So this probably was the last time that I ironed. And I must have ironed a shirt. There must have been a specific reason for ironing an item because I definitely don't iron as standard. And Beth, who, as I say, must have been really, really tiny at the time, she was downstairs and I got out the iron and I got out the ironing board. And I think, Mr. I Know I Need to Stop Talking and Jamie were upstairs somewhere. And Beth came into the lounge as I got out the iron and the ironing board, and she watched in fascination as obviously the iron, some steam came out the iron, and then I ironed the clothing and I hung it up and it was obviously all smooth. And I still remember her shouting up the stairs, going, "Daddy, Jamie, come downstairs. Something amazing is happening." So that pretty much sums up my approach to ironing. But my mum, bless her, is a unbelievable looker after of houses and general tidier. So she not only sorted out my children's clothes, she ironed them as well. And she left this morning sort of saying to them, "Now make sure you keep those clothes tidy because when I come back, I'll expect to see them all hung up just how I've put them." And you could see from the conviction on nobody's faces that was probably a status quo that was likely to last for, well, I don't know. I suspect if I go up to Jamie's room now that the carnage will already have unfolded. But yeah, bless her. She did an amazing, amazing job. And is it just me who still feels like they need to tidy up their house before their mum comes to stay? Just me? Probably not just me. And I thought I'd done a really good job. And obviously she came and did a load of stuff when she was here and I thanked her so much. And I said to her, "Oh, well, at least the house was quite tidy when you arrived." And she gave me a mum look that only mums can do. And she said, if I'd had a bit more time, I'd have sorted out your fridge. And I was thinking, I thought I tidied. My fridge is quite tidy. Anyway, guess what I'm going to do after this podcast recording? Tidy my fridge. It definitely needs a tidy. But no, she came and it was so lovely to see her. She also cooked for us very kindly on a couple of nights because I was working late. And my mum is the most amazing cook, possibly that I've ever known. She's an amazing, amazing cook. But the really unfortunate thing is then she comes and stays and cooks beautiful food. And I just go ever further down in the eyes of my children. So she made it was on Thursday night. She made us a roast dinner. And I don't like roast dinner. I know. I'll pause to let everybody take that in for a moment because everybody is appalled when I announce that I don't like roast dinner. But I don't like roast dinners unless it's my mum's roast dinner, which is amazing. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe you only like roast dinners cooked by your parents. No, it's just me being fussy, isn't it? But she cooked the most amazing roast dinner and Beth's eyes were as big as saucers as she devoured her roast chicken, roast potatoes, vegetables, gravy and apple crumble for dessert. And she finished her meal and she sat back and she went, "Well, Granny, I think it would be all right if you came and lived with us, to be honest." So yeah, there's going to be some feedback for me. We've also started. I think I'll do a future podcast on our plans for Christmas because we're dialing Christmas right back this year. So it's just going to be the 4 of us at home, which means I will cook. Oh my God, I will cook Christmas dinner for the first time ever. So we'll see how that goes. And I made the mistake of asking the children sort of, I said, let's put together a list of what we'd like. Because we've never had Christmas dinner at home. I said, let's put together a list of what we'd like for Christmas dinner. So they started there and then. So Jamie was like, well, turkey, obviously. And I said, yeah, pigs in blankets, yeah, roast potatoes, yeah, absolutely fine. Broccoli, okay, sprouts. And then Beth pipes up, spaghetti hoops. I said, what? She said, but it won't be Christmas without spaghetti hoops with our turkey. I bloody will be. I don't know where she gets it from. So yeah, we've been really lucky. It's been a really lovely half term, despite the fact I've been working for most of it. The children have thoroughly enjoyed themselves and had a really good time. They've been glued to their computers for large percentages of it, which is, I think, just a very honest reality of the times we are living in. I could have pretended that we'd spent the weeks doing life-affirming activities and making memories, #making memories, while we crafted and some such shite. But no, we did none of those things. We did interact in between the computer playing. I've dragged Jamie out on a couple of walks. I've done a lot of walking recently, and at some point I will write a blog post to explain why, because there's a lot of exciting stuff going on behind my walking. But I dragged Jamie out last week, and then I dragged him out this morning on a walk as well, conscious that he'd been sat in front of a computer for longer than I would have liked. And it was one of those mornings where I'd looked at the weather forecast. It looked a bit shitty, but I was like, oh well, it's fine, it's going to be okay. I'm sure it'll just be a mild shower. This is how I pitched it to Jamie. A mild shower, darling, and then the sun will come out and it will be glorious. Listeners, it was not glorious. We are very lucky to live near the sea, and I do a lot of walking by the sea, an awful lot of walking by the sea. And the sea on a beautiful day, there is nowhere that I would rather be. The sea this morning, fucking hell. We were those dicks that you see sometimes in documentaries where people are being filmed, and you're like, who goes out walking in this? That was us. That was me and Jamie. I was so drenched through. We walked along the wall next to the sea, and the waves were crashing over the top of the wall and drenching through us. Jamie, bless him, had some waterproof coat on, which I think would have been absolutely fine in normal, British showers. In what was like the apocalypse, it stood no chance. He turned to me at one point, his face sodden. He looked at me and went, Mum, this coat isn't even waterproof. And I kind of explained that I think any waterproof item stops being waterproofed when you've essentially been doused in water from the waist upwards. We were so I got back home, I was drenched through to my underwear. I could wring out my bra. We were absolutely drenched. But you know what? It was glorious. It was glorious. And I found, this is probably a good tip for any of you with teenagers, drag them out on the walk. And actually, Jamie's a really good sport about going walking. We were drenched and he didn't really complain once, other than to go, are you sure you know where you're going? Because we did get lost as well. That's like a traditional part of going for a walk, right? And he was an amazing sport. And the really nice thing about dragging them out walking is then you get a chance to have the conversations that wouldn't otherwise happen. And I think that's particularly if you can go out just the two of you one-on-one. So I obviously always go out on these walks with the real intention of, we're going to talk about the big stuff, son, the stuff you're really worried about, the stuff you really want to talk about. Let's chat about that. All right, says Jamie. And I'm like, great, we're going to go into the deep stuff now. Okay, son, I'm all yours. What do you want to talk about? So in a zombie apocalypse, what would we do? So we spent probably the first 45 minutes of our hour and a half long walk chatting about what we would do in a zombie apocalypse. It got quite in depth in the end because Jamie was talking about, well, if the government used nuclear weapons on them, but then we'd have to deal with all the nuclear fallout. And I was like, yeah. And he said, well, on top of coronavirus as well, there'll be no toilet rolls left, will there? And I said, well, no, not in the event of a zombie apocalypse and coronavirus. Although I have to say, I am definitely now at the point in the year where if Boris's announcement this afternoon was, and now we've heard there is a zombie apocalypse coming our way, I'd be like, fine. Of course there is. Crack on, bring it on. What else? We'll just cope with it. I've got plenty of toilet rolls. We're going to be grand. We'll chuck them at the zombies. We're going to be fine. But yeah, so we had a lovely, lovely walk. It's that transition from the summer walks into the walking in winter weather. And actually, I'm quite lucky because I genuinely just like being out and about. And if it's pissing it down, so what? I can live with it. Mr. I know I need to stop talking for my birthday. Bought me some walking sticks, as in sticks to go walking, not as in walking sticks for people who struggle to keep upright. Although to be fair, both of those are probably apt given my lack of coordination. So I had my walking sticks with me today, which were very handy because at one point I would definitely have ended up in my arse on a huge puddle otherwise, which reminds me of when Beth was tiny. She was a baby. We went out walking and I had her in a sling on my front, and it was one of those deceiving. It looked like a really, really nice day, and we walked out to some local kind of parkland, and I was striding along with the baby in the sling, probably thinking to myself that I looked like I was in some kind of catalogue commercial. I was like, yeah, look at me, the wind in my hair, the baby in front of me, look at me, a strong, independent woman, as I fell and landed on my arse in the biggest patch of mud. Or was it shit? It's one of those things you don't want to know the answer, possibly mud and shit together. And Beth was entirely nonplussed in her sling and just looked up at me as if to say, what now, mother? What are you doing now? Stupid woman. And so I had to walk home looking like I'd shat myself. So that was nice. But yeah, I had my walking sticks today. Also went out for a walk in the dark for the first time this week. And I've now determined that I'm going to get myself a proper head torch for for walking in the dark. I'm going to look like such a twat, but I don't care. I'm just getting out. I think, particularly if we are going into another lockdown, I think being able to get out under whatever limitations we're allowed to exercise, that is definitely my happy place. I do love a walk. I love a walk. We've also enjoyed, myself and the kids and my mum as well, playing board games. I mean, Beth is terrifying to play board games with. She is fiercely competitive. We played Pit quite a bit. I don't know if anybody's ever played Pit. It's a really, really good game to work off family aggression because it basically involves you just shouting at one another. You just shout numbers repeatedly at one another. So it's ideal for my kids to scream at each other. We also played a game called Rummy Cub, which is quite an old game. I don't know if anybody else has played it. It's a great game. It's really good for slightly older children, and it basically you have a series of tiles and you have to get them down in terms of streams of numbers, or it's either the same coloured same number or a run of numbers in the same colour, basically. I've explained that terribly. It's like some kind of IKEA instruction manual. Did that make sense? No? Good, excellent. Go and build it anyway. So we played Rummy Cub, and there's quite a lot of board manoeuvring that you can do. And Beth last night attempted the world's most complex move to try and get her tiles out, and my mum was there going, no, come on Beth, no, you won't be able to do this, no, come on. Beth has such steely determination and stubborn-mindedness that I swear to God she made those tiles fucking move, because somehow, defying all odds, she got all of her tiles out and beat us all. So yeah, so she thoroughly enjoyed lording that over us all. But board games are great if you're lucky enough not to live alone and you've got people you can play with, or even if you've got people in different houses and you have Zoom. I remember early on Beth and her bestie vividly playing the game Sorry together over FaceTime, which was very cute, until one of them won, and then it was all hell broke loose. So board games definitely have made us smile. My nails, did I mention my nails? Oh my God, I love my nails. So I am not really a very girly girl in lots of ways, but I love doing my nails. And for a long time, I did my own gel nails, which you're really, really, really not supposed to do. You should go and see a professional. And if you are a professional listening to this, hanging your head in shame, going, what was she thinking? You were right, because for several happy years, my gel nails looked beautiful. I can't wear normal nail varnish at all. It flakes and breaks off and chips. You know, so some people say, oh, you know, I can get 24 hours wear out of nail varnish at least. Try 24 seconds and I promise you I'm not exaggerating. I cannot wear nail varnish. So for years, gels were the answer to my prayer, until I overdid the gels a bit and managed to basically burn off the end of my fingertips, which is, not a good look. And on manicures that I have had over the years, the one which burnt off the end of my fingers was probably a low point, if I'm completely honest. So yeah, that definitely wasn't the vibe I was looking for. So I've kind of gone naked nails for a while, and then I read somewhere about dip powder nails. Oh, they are the dream. They're magic. They are genuinely magic. You don't have nail varnish. You have like a pot of powder and you dip your nail in it and then you put some magic stuff on it and then it turns into nail varnish. I should basically be a beauty blogger, shouldn't I? Because that description was so accurate and helpful for anybody wanting to look into doing dip powdering on their nails. But I will definitely be whiling away whatever lockdown period we end up in, spending a lot of time putting dip powders onto my nails. And for someone, as I say, normal nail varnish lasts me maybe 24 seconds. Gel nails, when not burning off the ends of my fingertips, would probably last me a week, if I'm lucky. These bad boys, 2 weeks, and still going strong. They are fucking awesome. I love a dip nail. I apologise if you have no interest in doing your nails whatsoever and are wondering why you've wasted your life listening to that last 2-minute diatribe. But honestly, they are the dream. They are the dream. And I will put some pictures up on Instagram very soon because I'm obsessed and I'm boring fucking everybody about my nails. And that includes all of you. I can only apologise. So yeah, nails will definitely keep me smiling. Books, done lots and lots of reading, loads of brilliant recommendations that you all came up with when we did the summer reading review, loads of stuff that I'm still working through at the moment. So if you've got great recommendations for books to read, particularly books that will make you smile, I'm reading quite a lot of heavy stuff at the minute, so any light-hearted stuff that will make me smile or make me wee with laughter while I'm reading it would be amazing. It would be remiss of me not to say, did I mention that I wrote a book? I wrote 2 books. I still can't get over that. Every now and then I see them and I'm like, how did that happen? So I won't bang on about them for ages. I think I've done that quite enough, but I did write 2 books and they are available on Amazon should you wish to buy them. And then laughter, I think in tough times trying to find the funny. is so important, and it's not very easy, right? It's not very easy when you've got a pandemic going on, lots of us working in really, really tough jobs, lots of people out there on the front line, lots of people separated from their family. And I am lucky because I am an incurable optimist, and I will always try and find the funny in the situation. But I appreciate I'm in a really privileged position, right? And not everybody is in a lifestyle that probably there's anything to find very funny at all. But I will absolutely commit to, through the blog and hopefully the podcast as well, try to keep bringing a little bit of a smile to your days, even when all around you there is a lot of shit. That there is a memory that I will definitely cherish as we head into what's probably going to be a bit of a tough winter, which was from my birthday walk with my dad, and we were walking along, and we walked for 16 miles, and we did not stop talking for the entire 16 miles. I think we could have done another 16 and still not stop talking. But I was sharing a story with him, and I just managed to. It's one of those things where you're going to go, you had to be there to find it funny. So I won't relate that. I won't retell the anecdote. But there was a glorious misunderstanding, at which point we both had to stop because we were laughing so hard. We were doubled up, and 2 or 3 passers-by kind of sidled past us and gave us both a really odd look, and then started laughing as well. And it was just one of those glorious, glorious moments of laughing so hard that your tummy hurts. So, well, I can't guarantee to do that every day. If I can, at least try and make you all smile, and maybe at least once make you laugh till you wee, then I'll feel like hopefully we've tried to bring a little bit of happiness back into a world that is pretty fucked right now, isn't it? Pretty fucked. But yeah, we will get there. We will definitely get there. And as always, my message, well, as I finish up on today's podcast, is be kind to you. Be kind to you. Give yourself a bit of a break. Lower those expectations, do the little things that make you smile. And it might be sometimes that maybe if there's one thing in a day that makes you smile, makes you feel better, grab onto those moments, because I think it's those moments for all of us that help us get through what I know is inevitably going to be a tough few weeks and months. But we will keep going. We will keep on persevering, and hope to fucking God we don't get a zombie apocalypse too, because that really would fucking finish off 2020, wouldn't it? Fucking hell. So I am off to spend the rest of my Saturday afternoon. Well, this is deja vu now, isn't it? Because I think I signed off last week's podcast saying that I was going to go and spend my Saturday afternoon standing over Jamie, asking him to do the homework that he hasn't done. Well, guess what? The homework that Jamie hasn't done is still homework that has not been done by him. So I will spend a second Saturday afternoon standing over Jamie, asking him to do his homework. It's good to know, isn't it, that even in a year of madness, there are some things that never change. And Jamie not doing his homework is most definitely one of those things. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. As always, I will see you all next week. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.